Hey, this is my first video as I've done of repairing my natural nail. As you can see, I have broken it quite a lot there. It doesn't hurt, it's just cracked. So what I want to do is repair it with an acrylic overlay. I have already prepped, I've done my cuticle area on my nail, I've dehydrated it. So in doing your cuticle area, you would use your cuticle stick, gently push your cuticle away and then clear away any of your dead cells. And then you will do your cuticle all up here, removing any hard cuticles still left. As I've already done so, you use your nippers. So, to make sure that this nail plate will adhere to acrylic, you need to make sure that you file it and buff it very gently. So I use my 100-180 grit file very gently on my nail plate. I tend to do it this is my opposite hand, so it's very difficult to work on because I'm normally right-handed. So I do it very gently, but I tend to move my hand to get the file in all of the areas very gently. So you just gently, I do circular motions into the corners and gently buff so that it's nice and prepped and ready, so that you will have some gentle scratches in your nail plate so that all of the acrylic will adhere. I have 4 children and 3 dogs, so I am always using and breaking my natural nails if they haven't got acrylics on them, whereas at the moment I'm very bare nails today, and I have been for a few weeks. So I would like to keep them growing, and breaking it wasn't my plan. But in doing so, I am able to make my first video. So bear with, I'm hoping to get better with my videos, and with people subscribing, that would be fantastic in letting me do so. I have been qualified nail technician for 14 years, and I have been working with my own salon that I have run now for 5 years. Coming into my 5th year this year. So it would be quite nice to just show some of the skills that I have learnt from just doing other clients and my other lovely ladies that come, and also showing them that I can still do my own. So we're gently filing, getting that nice rough look on your nail. I leave it as it is, and I just use my buffing block, which is very well used, my lovely purple, trusty purple one. And you just buff it and smooth it out as nice as you can so that you don't have real dust and everything on them. So that's nicely done there. Hopefully you can see that there. So I just buff that out, make it smooth, with being really careful as I have that edge there that's very flimsy. Right, so that is all buffed out and it looks very nice and ready to have some acrylic on. All I need to do is do some cleanser on it that we need. Some nail cleanser. That will take off any oils and any dust that is left from the buffing. So just put a little bit on my pad and just gently, I'm going to have to, normally I would wipe it up and down just to make sure it's all done, but because of the break I don't want it catching. So I'm going to come over on a circular motion all the way around that way so that it doesn't catch on the broken nail, and make sure that it's all done, because I don't want any cotton from the pad stuck on my nail. Excuse me, just had a drink there. Right, so I've done all my prep, my cuticle's done, my nail is buffed and ready. Don't touch it now. Then I have to put on a primer. I find that this No Lift Nails primer is fantastic. I've used it for quite a few years now. Keep buying it every year. It's fantastic. No Lift Nails. I find it works really well with clients that do have lifting with your acrylics that go around from the edge and lift out from your cuticle and down to your free edge. I find this works really well in helping to make sure their acrylic nails stay the full 2 weeks. So you apply it very sparingly. So I tend to dip it in and then I brush it out on the top, because then it leaves just a little bit just on the edge. and then I brush it very, very sparingly, not touching any of the skin. Sometimes you can just dab it just in the middle there. And this, you have to do 2 coats. So I just grab a little bit more so that it's going to give it a full coverage. And this helps your acrylic to adhere and stick nicely in place. So you let that dry. It doesn't take very long and it starts to go a very cloudy sort of colour on your nail plate. So then you just dip in again to get your second coat on. And again, like I said, very sparingly. If you've got too much on it, just dab it on your little paper towel that you have. And sometimes you don't have to brush it on too much. You can just let it soak up around your nail. I tend to do a free edge as well, just in case. Not everybody has to do that, and you don't have to do that. It's just something I've found. And then clean it in my barbicide. Always clean in barbicide any brushes or any utensils and tools that you use. So it keeps it clean and fresh for every other client that comes in. So that nail is now completely ready and prepped, and it's just drying its second coat of primer. So I'm going to go ahead and get my foils ready. I like to sculpt this nail, and I use my little forms. Love these pink forms, great. Some people like to put this second, the inner hole piece underneath, gives a bit of strength, but I always like to have it a little bit more flexible. It's nicer to have it more flexible. So placing your form is also very important. I tend to just wiggle it a little bit so that it makes it a bit more flexible. And if you can try and do it with one hand, that's great, but don't worry if you can't. 2 hands isn't a problem. Obviously I'm just doing it on myself, so it is definitely going to be done by one hand. But you always want to make sure that your free edge is on the form and the form is underneath. And you want to make sure that it matches, without pushing too hard, so that it matches on the sides here and here. So that once it's in the most comfortable place you find, stick down the sides. Because this is on my opposite hand, it's a little bit more tricky, so it takes me a minute or 2. And then definitely just give it a look before you squeeze it together. As you can see, it's all level quite nicely and it's on the edges and covering the sides. So then you just pull together these little ends so that it makes a nice little shape like so. And that's a very nicely fitted, neat form that won't fall off, lift or move. So it will be able to let me, if I was going to do an extension, a very long extension, I can do a nice apex in the middle there, and it will come down lovely with a nice curve on there as well. Okay, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just doing an overlay to fix my broken nail that I caught, everybody, by just opening a can of tuna. So I'm going to get my acrylic powder and some liquid from in my little pot. Everybody uses different brands. I tend to use very good brands as well. A very well known one by C&D, Creative Nail Design. Perfect. And the Retention Plus powder is fantastic. And again, obviously the matching Retention Plus monomer. So I'm only doing one nail, so I only need a really little bit just in there, just for me. Never put it back in the pot because you'll contaminate the whole pot. So never ever put it in. If you've got any left over, just reuse it on yourself if you need to top up any more. Otherwise, just discard it. Always discard. You don't want to cause any issues. So you can stick the wings down if you need to, but if they're not a problem bothering you, just leave them up. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's secure everywhere else, it's going to work perfectly. As I said, I use C&D. I actually use, this is my size 8 liquid and powder brush. It's very well used because I absolutely love it. So that's the one I use. My Pro Series Sculpt and Powder, liquid and powder number 8. You can't really see the 8 very well there because it's so well used. It's my favourite brush. Now, bearing in mind this is my opposite hand I'm doing my nail on, so I am going to do my ball out of my liquid with my right hand because it's much easier for me to do. I mean, the ratio of everything should be on par if you're very good at doing them, and if not, I tend to do that. Make sure you drip out the monomer so it's not saturated on your brush, and then draw into your liquid. I just pop it in and I just pull it a tiny little bit and then hold it there and get a good bead, and then it should just come straight out like so. I leave it on my brush to settle for just a second, and then I go in and I place it not right at the cuticle but just a bit before. And bearing in mind this again, wipe your brush straight away. This is my opposite hand, so it's not the easiest to do, and it doesn't always look the prettiest straight away. But what you don't want is these dripping and dribbling everywhere, so the ratio to it is very, very important. As you can see, this is just sitting there, allowing me to gently push it and move it into a position where I would like it. I gently am just leaving it and then drawing it down. So like I was saying, my phone kind of cut out there, so hopefully I've joined this back in very well. So it is cold today, and I find when it's colder these take a little bit longer to set, but I have moved that where I want it right now. So I'm just going to put another bead just on my free edge here so that it allows it to settle on the edge. And again, I just drag it one little section and then hold it to pick up my bead. I want a smaller bead than I had last time, so it's just a tiny little bead. And I'm just going to stick that one, just sit it there on the end. And sit it there, let it stay. Doesn't want to come off my little brush. There we go. Just on the end, so I'm going to move that up a little bit. And then wipe my brush and just move it a little bit over there. Pat it down all the time so that you get it where you want it. Bearing in mind again, this is on my right hand, which is my usual hand for doing all of my nails. So I will now try and shape this. Any weird shapes that I've got on here is because it is in my opposite hand and it's not the best, but any good nail tech, even when you file, you can make it look beautiful. So there I am, just patting it all down. It's got a really nice apex there as well on my nail. I just need to fill in a little bit more here on my cuticle because obviously, as I said, my opposite hand, it's not as easy to do as well as it would be if it was my left hand and my right one doing it. So tinier bead this time, just to go at the back. Just going to pop it just down there a little and shift it around, wipe away straight away. And if you can see there, hopefully you can see me just brushing it all out so it's close to the cuticle but not touching, never touching. And then drawing it around and just making sure that it's in the right place all the way around there. So now I'm just going to let that dry. Usually you would continue on and do the overlay on all of your other nails, and in that time, by the time it's finished, that would be set. I'm fairly happy with that. If you can see here, I think I've missed a tiny little bit of it there, whereas on this side it's all completely covered. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bead in there, very little bead, just tiny bead, so that it will completely cover the nail, because then when you file, you'll then be filing your own nail, and you don't want to do that because that can get burn. So just going to bring that in there, up there. And I'm doing this all at really weird angles because, like I said before, it's my opposite hand and that can be quite challenging. So I kind of do any technique possible that will make it work. As I said, this is my first video, so please do bear with. I will hopefully get better at doing videos. It's something that I've never done before. But I really enjoy watching other people, so I'm hoping that when I can do some really nice funky nails, I'll be able to show you all properly, because I would do it on my other hand. But doing it opposite hand in a nail technician is always very, very hard. I'm just going to add a tiny little bead more on this edge at the top of my cuticle there. It's a little bit wetter than normal, just because I want to get it moved in quickly. And I don't want any gaps for when I'm filing. So I'm going to just do that and bring that around. I don't know if you can see there actually. Just making sure it's neat around the edges there as well. And draw it down, not touching the skin. So, like I said, just going to leave that to settle now. Shouldn't take too long, but like I said, I'm actually cold in my nail bar today, so we're just going to sit and wait whilst I pack away my monomer, fold away my powder. I'm going to cover my monomer up for the moment. Pop the little guy over there. I'm going to clean my brush whilst this is setting, so I will see you in a minute. Okay, it's now dried quite nicely. It's got a matte lick to it once it's dry. The other method that you can find out whether it's completely dry is by tapping. You should hear a nice sort of clicking tapping sound, not a soft pad or a squishy sort of soft sound when you tap. It should be a really nice click. Hopefully you can hear that. It doesn't hurt, but a tapping sound. Nice solid tapping sound. So once that's done, you can remove your form. Take that one off. They're very sticky. Mine are very sticky. Brilliant, brilliant forms, but they tend to be very sticky. If you do get any on your nail like that, it's not a problem. It just comes straight off anyway, even when you wipe it. So I have a very good solid nail there. Nice solid nail. And I have my 180-200 file, which is just for acrylics. So I'm just going to gently buff that. And again, as I said, this is my opposite hand, so I tend to hold the file very weirdly so that I can gently move my finger and get the filing done. Now, when you do your free edge and your sides, you need to make sure that this is level with your edge of your nails. So gently, and again, I tend to move my hand when I'm doing my opposite hand. So any which way to get it nice and neat. And I tend to be not as rough as I would do when it's my opposite hand, because it's hard to do. But this is just a overlay, so I'm just going to gently do the edges and then the sides. Hopefully you can still see that okay there. And then you come over the top and down. I draw them down the sides so that it makes it a nice neat shape. So I'll get that done in here. And it's got a nice apex, so it's a really nice shaped nail as well. So once it's done, and with its no polish naked nails today, it will still look really natural. So once you've done all of your filing, it will look really good. And then you just let it grow out for a couple of weeks and your crack will have disappeared and just be on the end, so you can have a normal nail again. So I'm just filing down the sides just to make it look like a really nice natural shaped nail, so there's no different. And I do the same with this side. Drawing it down and do it very gently, just around my cuticle area up here, very gently. You don't want to go heavy around there in case you catch a cuticle, so you want to do that really gently and smooth. And then the same, I have to turn it around to do the other side. As I said, opposite hands are very difficult to do. But after doing nails for 14 years, you tend to get a weird and wonderful method of how to do your own nails. Because, you know, being a nail tech, you want to have nice nails just like your clients do. So hopefully, if I get some likes on this video and some interest, I will love to do some more videos, but with some really nice funky designs of some nice stilettos and some lovely acrylic, because that would just look really, really good. And I love doing them because I haven't done my nails for months and months at all. I've had nothing on my nails for months, so because it's been busy over Christmas. This is January now, 2018, so it's fantastic to have a nice start and a nice change to the year. So I'm still filing along here, just making sure that all of it looks really good. All of the sides, tops and bottom. So just want to get in there on the edge on that side so that it looks really, really good. Cover the edge and then come over the top. I do a very circular, light circular motion. And again on this side. So, because I can't clearly see how well this has gone, I am going to get my trusty brush in a minute. Love my brush, just so it can brush away any excess that I can't see. So, let's cover that, do my edge. Come over there, make sure there's no... The other way you can tell if you have a gap is when you're filing, you'll get like a little hole in your acrylic and you'll see dust gather in it, so you know that you've either missed it or you have not filed it enough to get it flush to your natural nail. So I think I'm happy with that at the moment on my natural nail. Like I said, I'm going to get my little brush. Absolutely love a brush to get any dust off. Gives it a good dusting. Give it a good clean. Get everything off everywhere. There. And then again, with the same cleanser that I used earlier at the beginning, take off any dust. And as I'm leaving it as a natural nail, I am not going to put any gel top coat on. I'm just going to wipe it with my cleanser, clearing all sides and back. And have a good look at that. And that is one beautiful overlay repair on a very unsightly cracked nail of mine. So to finish up quickly, you don't want to have any scratch marks looking on there from using your very rough file. So you need to get your buffing block. Usually they're white. I tend to like my little purple one. I adore my purple one. And then just lightly go over down the sides, over the top. And again, I have to move my nail. It looks really, really weird. Move my nail to get into the sides and the edges. And then it gives it a nice smooth look. And nice and neat around your cuticle area. And again, wipe it with your cleanser that you did just now. All clean and lovely. And that is, I hope you all liked it. Let me get rid of all this ugly sighted dust from my little trusty towel. That is one acrylic fixed index nail. This one just here. Actually, so it's this one here I'm pointing with. I had to repair that one last. So there's my acrylic repair on a natural looking nail that I unsightingly broke. Thank you for watching, and please bear with me. I really hope I can do some better videos next time, and there'll be some really nice funky looking acrylics. Hope you've enjoyed it, and please subscribe because it's my first ever video and I would like to do some more. Thank you. Bye.